You're Paul. I'm the new Sprint intern.
Sprint plus...
Intern. Yeah, clever, right? Look at getting an amazing iPhone 8.
Yeah, because...
They have an all-glass design, advanced cameras.
I'm going to
give your second phone to your new friend. Wow, Paul!
Now lease one iPhone 8 and give a second one on us. Visit your local Sprint store, sprint.com/iPhone, or call 1-800-SPRINT1 today.
iPhone 8 64 gigabyte, $29.17 a month. Second iPhone 8 after $29.17 a month. Credit applied within 2 bills. Requires 2 new lines or 1 new and 1 upgrade with 18-month leases. Early termination results in full balance due. Excludes tax subject to credit and third activation. Restrictions apply.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girlz. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girlz.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girlz Radio. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my co-host, PK, all the way from Tucson. What's happening out there, PK?
Well, we're hearing we're going to have a little bit of snow possibly this weekend, and definitely in the mountains, but it's turning cooler. I don't like cool.
No. Oh, not out there.
Nope. I'm going to get my mucklucks out and get a big heavy coat. And I'm going to sit and stare into the sunset.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, you know, I read something the other day saying that the Northeast is now warming up faster than any other place on Earth.
Wow.
Yes, indeedy. And I'm happy about that because I'm really tired of those cold, bitter winters and those below zero temperatures. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I wonder what the catch is. I wonder what's going to compensate at the other end.
I don't know, but I'm happy to report. Today we were supposed to get snow and we got rain. So,
well, that's better.
That's better. Nothing to plow, nothing to shovel. I'm liking it.
That's right. Oh, and you can be drip dry regardless. That's good.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's just so much going on in the world today. Tell us what the numbers are saying.
Well, today's been a day that we dealt with our sensitivity. You're going to find that a lot of people just aren't sure just how to deal with things because they don't want to muddy the waters, but they're overly sensitive. And anything to do with relationships has created a little bit of a shake, rattle, and roll. Not necessarily negative, but feeling not quite with it. So, you know, you don't know which side to jump to, the right or the left. And that's true politically as well as universally as far as the numbers go. But tomorrow things are going to be a lot better. That way you're going to feel a bit more spacey, a little scattered, but that's okay because it's going to make you feel good and you're going to feel like you want to have a good time and you're going to have some great ideas and you're just going to want to kind of shine about what's taking place. So kind of pay attention to what you say so you don't come across that negative bit that comes out as if you're gossiping about somebody.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to put your foot in your mouth, huh? Is that it? That's
let's
what I
put
do.
it this way. Tomorrow the tendency is for both feet in the mouth. So
wow,
be
we're going to
careful.
have to watch that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely that. But it's going to
boy.
be very entertaining. There's going to be a lot coming out. Don't be too surprised at what you hear in the news tomorrow, too.
Oh, yeah? Like what? Something like about UFOs or something cool like that?
Oh, no, something cool like who's going into the White House and who's having to leave the White House. But it's going to be more corruption or disruption, whatever you want to call it.
Gosh, you know, we need to come together on this. We have our new president. It's time to stop whining, don't you think?
I know it. Hey, it's done. It's a done deal. Get over it. Get on with it. Let's
onward.
Take and make lemonade out of this lemon.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a lemon, but I like lemons and I like
I do too. I think we're going to be surprised at how many good things can come out of it if people just quit bickering about what could have been. We've got what we have. Let's fix it. Let's go forward. And if we all band together and do it right, wow, look what we could do.
I agree. I think it's time to stop the whining.
Yes.
You know, it is time to grow up. So here we are. And
magic word, grow up. I don't know about that one yet.
yeah, I know. Are we asking too much?
A little bit right now, but it's coming. It's coming.
Goody. Well, a couple things. Paranormal news. We've got some cool stuff that I posted on our Facebook page. Now, if you haven't been to our Facebook page yet, everybody, take a look-see. Give us a like. Hey, I'm in a big competition right now with my husband. He's got more Facebook followers on his page than we have on ours. That's not.
No, we can't handle that.
No, we can't be second to that.
Nope.
So look, everybody, we need your help. Go to Facebook, give us a like, tell your friends to give us a like. We gotta match those numbers at least. He's got 20,000.
Match, and we got to do better than that.
We got to do better. So we need your help.
More than that. Listening.
Punch your definitely. We've got 3 million listening. Buttons. So I don't know why you guys got to go to the FB page. You got to give us a like, follow us on Twitter, do all those cool things because we have cool stuff on our Facebook.
Yeah, we sure do.
Right now, we have a UFO struck by lightning in France. Mm-hmm. And so we've got a video of it right on the Facebook page. And it shows this thing. It's a video of a UFO being struck by lightning and then plummeting to the ground. Now, the footage was apparently filmed recently, and it shows lightning striking a UFO during a heavy thunderstorm somewhere in France. After the lightning impact, the object stays on its trajectory for a little while until it slows down, and then it falls to the ground. Oh, my God. So you would have to take a look at this. Tell us what you think. I think this is real. I really do.
I wonder when they're going to finally come up with the fact that they found some pieces of it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm surprised that there haven't been reports of, government trucks and cars.
You know what's happened here when we had things like that? All of a sudden it disappears and nobody sees it.
Yeah, they just clean it up and then they wipe the memories of the people that were there by scaring the heck out of them and saying, "Don't you dare talk about this." So yeah,
That's the one.
we got to follow this. Now we got one other piece of paranormal news that is so spooky. Now I put this on the site probably a month ago, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it, and it involves numbers, and so that's why I thought tonight would be a good night to talk about this thing. And it's basically something I have never heard of about using buttons on an elevator, right? Mm-hmm. So they say in this article that they say how nobody had a heart attack is amazing. Would you like to visit another world? That's how this starts out. Then the numbers 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. Are the combination to take you there. It is said that if you step inside an elevator and enter those floor numbers in that sequence, you can enter another world. Now, the ritual originated in Korea. You will need to find a building at least 10 floors, as the 10th floor is where you will step out into another world. If you enter the numbers in the correct order, a woman will apparently enter on the 5th floor, who you should never look at nor speak to. As the elevator arrives at the 10th floor, the woman will ask, "Where are you going?" But again, you should never, ever answer her. Now, after you have been and explored the other world, you can return by entering the same combination into the elevator floor buttons. And when you step out on the ground floor, you'll be back into our world. It's also said if you happen to faint or pass out in the other world, you will find yourself waking up in your own home. Wow. But you should take a good look around, as it may not be the same, and you might notice some differences to what you remember home looking like. So, if you want to give it a try, the instructions are on our Facebook page, and we want a full report if you do it. What do you think? What do you think, PK? You're looking at these numbers 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. What do you make of it?
Well, the actually total of 3. So 3 is all about communications of all forms, but also scattered energies. But 3 with the creation and such going on, it does put a little question mark in your brain, doesn't it?
A big one.
Uh-huh. I don't think I'm going to test it, though. I think I'll just wait and see. Let somebody else do it first.
Yes. So we're counting on some brave souls out in our audience to give this a try. We want to know what happens. I mean, it's a very interesting premise. So who knows? Maybe it will take you to another world. And if it does, just make sure you bring your cell phone and have your camera on. We want to know what that looks like. Exactly.
And if you're going to do it, let us know that first. So that way, if we don't get a response afterwards, we know you didn't make it back.
That's right. Wow, huh?
Got to keep up on this.
Cool. Yes, we've got to keep up. So anybody in our audience who's going to do it, let us know. Let us know what happens. And we want to see the video when you come back. Very cool stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm. Amazing, all these neat things that are out there.
I know it. And speaking of cool things, I mean, we have the coolest guests around. We do.
We do. Yes,
There's
we do.
no question. We do. And tonight, very special guest, Nicholas Pearson. And he is the go-to man on stones, gems, and the powers and teachings within. He's written a new book, The 7 Archetypal Stones, Their Spiritual Powers and Teachings. Now, a little bit about Nicholas. He has been immersed in all aspects of the mineral kingdom for more than 20 years. He began teaching crystal workshops in high school, later studying mineral science at Stetson University. God, I can't even talk tonight. While pursuing a degree in music, he worked for several years at the Gillespie Museum, home to the largest mineral collection in the southern United States. Now, he's also a certified teacher and practitioner of Usui Reiki Ryoho. He teaches crystal and Reiki classes throughout the United States, and he lives in sunny Florida, lucky guy. So I can't wait to hear all about this. Crystals are my favorite things in the universe. So, Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it's our pleasure. We are really going to pick your brain tonight. We want to know all about what you know. And you know a lot. My goodness, it sounds like you've been with this crystal thing since forever. How did you get involved with it?
I've just always been attracted. I've always gravitated towards the mineral kingdom. While everyone else is taking pictures of national parks, I'm bending down and picking up stones to take home with me, kind of thing. But my true love of collecting fine minerals came when my grandfather gave me a piece of quartz when I was at the ripe old age of 8. And it has stuck with me ever since. It's probably the most constant thing in my life. So here I am all these years later, still collecting, and now I get to share that passion with the world.
That's wonderful for us. Was your grandfather a collector?
No, not really. I was kind of a nerdy little kid. I loved to read. I loved science. I also loved mythology and spirituality and other things. So here was this miraculous piece of nature about which I could learn, something from that scientific realm, but it also sort of played into my love of history and myth and folklore and legend. And nowadays, my main aim is to unite these two sometimes opposing forces and allow spirituality and science to sort of co-create a dialogue about how crystals work for us.
Wonderful. Lucky for us.
I know. So we have to find everything out that we can possibly find out in 90 minutes tonight, because we have a lot of people in our audience that already work with crystals. I know I was taught by a Cherokee medicine woman many years ago how to work with crystals, but I want to know how you work with them and what you recommend to people. And it looks like you have a whole list of crystals, because we read your book, and what they're for. But how do you attune to them? How do you actually get them to work with you? Because they are living beings, aren't they?
Depending on the route we want to take, the lens we want to look at them through, we can look at them as symbolically alive or maybe spiritually alive. And in that case, the best thing we can do is not look up their properties in a book and expect them to do exactly that thing, because we have to remember, just like no two people are exactly alike and don't perform all the same tasks the same, even though more or less we're kind of the same. Minerals are the same way. So you might get a piece of quartz that is the same mass, same size, same weight, same clarity, more or less the same shape as a piece of quartz that I've gotten. You and I could have totally different experiences with it, in spite of the fact that nearly all of their chemical, physical, optical, and other properties are identical. So the best thing we can do is just sort of sit down in a comfortable space with some quiet time without any expectations or attachment to what we want this crystal to do, and just open up. If we open our hearts, eventually we really connect and hear some sort of message on one level or another.
Wow. Now, you obviously have been doing this for many, many years. Do you have a special crystal that you work with all the time?
It's kind of like asking their parent their favorite child. I have a lot of close, near and dear.
You're so tactful, dear.
Doesn't want to offend
and
you.
The thing is that it often changes according to the season or the period of growth that I'm undergoing. And while I have some old favorites, I always go back to. I'm always open to receiving what might be new. In fact, it was just yesterday or the day before, out of the blue, I was washing dishes in the kitchen, and I had this memory of a mineral specimen I'd bought years ago, and has just been sitting in a box ever since. I've never done anything with it, and I had to stop everything that I was doing, go to the box, and I had no idea which one it was going to be as the universe would have it. It was, of course, the first one I looked in, and when I picked up this stone and cleaned off some dust and made it feel appreciated again, it was exactly what I needed in that moment. In fact, its properties parallel those of another stone that I've been working with, almost identically, even though they're radically different to look at. So they come to us when we need them to.
And you're obviously open to hearing them, so you picked up on that right away when that crystal sent you a little message.
Yeah, even though I can be very cerebral, sometimes I block out those messages, but when we're doing the tasks that we allow ourselves to go off into that altered state of mind, that's the best time. I mean, I've been known to rush out of the shower to my mineral collection or pull a book off a shelf for no reason at all, and there's exactly what I need.
Now, do you recommend sleeping with a crystal, like putting one in your or under your pillow? What do you think about that?
Definitely depends on the stone. Most nights of the week, you'll find one under my pillow or maybe just on my nightstand. And depending on how diligent I am about cleaning up after myself, after a week or two, there might be a lot of crystals on that nightstand. Maybe more than one rock in my pillowcase. But this is definitely a circumstance where less is more, and you kind of have to feel it out. Some things might be comfortable for me to sleep with that might keep you up all night, or vice versa. So just honor the stone and use them wisely. If something makes you uncomfortable or maybe reveals something to you that indicates a great amount of growth that you'll do with that stone, you might want to do it in short bursts when you're well rested in your safe space, wherever that's going to be.
What makes you decide which stone you'd like to put under your pillow?
Sometimes I have a specific goal in mind. Maybe I want to enhance the dream state, or I need some help with some sort of challenge or obstacle or limitation in my life. And so I sort of just strategically choose the stone in that way. But more than likely, the reason I have a stone under my pillow is because I want to get to know it better. And I'd like to get to know it when my ego mind can't make any assumptions about what it's doing for me. So the dream time's a great place for that. I'll be the first to admit I seldom remember whatever lesson I've integrated in my sleep, but I know what's happening, and I just sort of surrender to that process.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Now, is there a stone or gem that you should consider, obviously, because you want to check in with your own intuition and see if it's right for you, but is there a stone or gem that is particularly good at helping people remember their dreams?
Jade is a great one. So in my first book, The 7 Archetypal Stones, there's a whole chapter on jade. Jade has this really rich history of being connected to non-ordinary reality, or maybe the shamanic consciousness, you could even call it. In some cultures, it's referred to as the dream time. So it has this ethereal, dreamy quality to it. And so it can help us with those dream time journeys and maybe even remember what we've retrieved on those missions.
That would be nice.
Yes, because we've had a number of dream analysts on the show with us. And, of course, the biggest issue that many people have is remembering the dream. So we've talked about, different supplements to take, like B6 and huperzime, things like that. But I figured there has to be a crystal that's aligned with dreaming. So, again, jade, that would be a good one. And there's all different colors of jade. A lot of people don't know that, right?
Right.
There's a lot of different colors besides green.
Yeah. Exactly. In fact, green jade didn't actually become popular until a couple hundred years ago.
I'll be darned. I knew the lavenders and such. But is there a specific stone you would not want to put under your pillow?
I think that's a really personal thing. Generally speaking, if you have one of those crystals that people call the high vibe or high frequency stones, those might upset your sleep cycle. But our levels of comfort are different. I have an example from my life and that of my dearest friend. I have a huge love for a gemstone called petersite. It's a close relative of tiger's eye, only it's much more resplendent. It comes in every color of the rainbow and then some, and it's just beautiful to look at. It's sometimes called the tempest stone. Not only does it help us weather the storms we experience in life and really find strength amidst trauma, one of the things that it does for us is it allows us to have the same sort of power and freshness that we get after a storm. So it's kind of like a reset button. And I've been playing with this rock since I was a kid, and I can sleep with it no problem. My dear friend Kat, when she bought several beautiful, exquisite pieces and just had them in her bedroom, wasn't able to sleep for days, if not weeks. And finally, we went through every other thing in the house, like what could it be? What are you doing different with your schedule? And I just said, Kat, what's beside your bed? Well, it's my table. What's on your table? And we figured out it was the petersite. And she moved it into the next room over and got the best night's sleep she'd had in ages.
Isn't that something? Gosh.
Sometimes it's trial and error, and that's the only way to know.
What color is petersite?
It's often a mixture of golds and blues and browns and reds, but you might find tinges of greens or violets in there too.
Wow, it's a whole combination. Okay, well, we've got a question for you from the chat room. D.H.
Sure.
Smith is written in and wants to know, I'm interested in hearing what Nicholas has to say about the Philosopher's Stone. Does he see any correlation between the 7 stones and the alchemist's version of the Philosopher's Stone?
Ooh.
What a good question. So if we look at myth and folklore, the Philosopher's Stone is often described as something that is not necessarily very pretty and is something that could be very common in the earth. So there are lots of people who have theories about what it might actually be. In the 7 Archetypal Stones, 2 of the chapters deal a lot with the idea of alchemy. And rather than discuss the mechanics of actually transforming one type of metal into another or granting life eternal, what I'm talking about is more symbolic. And in this case, with the chapter on emeralds, chapter 4, right there in the heart of the book, we have this wonderful heart-centered stone. And one of the archetypes we talk about is the emerald tablet. And the emerald tablet is this sort of fabled inscription that was said to be carved onto a green stone. And depending on the translation and the version and commentary that you see, it could have anywhere from maybe 8 or 10 lines up to about 16. And it's a symbolic description of how we actually obtain the ends of alchemy, which is to create the Philosopher's Stone and also to gain the elixir of life. So I think what the Philosopher's Stone really represents is this ability for us to go into this higher state of consciousness, the state of love, this unconditional love, and be able to obtain from that all the tools that we need to transmute whatever exists in our life into that higher state. That's symbolically taking our leaden state of mind and transforming it into the golden state of mind. Yes,
easier said than done, right?
Absolutely. But that's why the stones are there to help us.
Thank goodness. We need those stones. Now, yeah, some people use them for Kundalini experiences also, right? To increase and expand consciousness and to get chakras moving in the right direction and clear out blocks. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, there's so many different applications for stones. There are safe and less comfortable methods, we'll say, comfortable and less comfortable methods of doing that sort of stuff. So always work with stones you're the most comfortable with. They're the ones that you'll get the best outcome from. And, do your research. If we have spontaneous Kundalini experiences, we can suddenly stop fitting in with the rest of the third dimensional world, and it kind of becomes difficult to integrate until we finally ground and come back to an ordinary reality. Why anyone would really want to be here, I don't know, but we're here for a reason. But it's definitely something you can do.
Yes, I'm sorry, PK, you got a question? Go ahead.
Well, I was curious. Do you? I've heard of people doing an elixir using the stones in a water base and letting them sit there, and it creates an elixir that they feel gives them additional powers and additional strength, more so than just holding the stone. Do you subscribe to anything like that?
Water, gem, or crystal imprinted water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. This is a really powerful technique. In my second book, which will be due on shelves around February 3rd, it's called Crystals for Karmic Healing, which have a few recipes for crystal essences and elixirs that you can use specifically for healing our karma, not just on a personal level, but even on a planetary level. But water has this amazing memory. The types of hydrogen bonds that exist from molecule to molecule allow it to organize itself and to do so in real time as it responds to other fields of energy. And everything in the universe, whether we can see it or touch it or not, is comprised of both matter and energy. It has a particle and a wave state, and those wave states are, fields, bands of electromagnetic frequencies that extend outwards in all directions. And so water responds to these and actually rearranges the organization of its molecules. And the more coherent an energy field it comes into play with, the more coherently it becomes organized. And, our bodies, for example, by mass, we know that we're about 70% water, more when we're very young and less when we're very old. But if you count the number of molecules in your body, more than 99% of all of the molecules in your body are water molecules. It's only by virtue of the fact they're so tiny and have so little mass that you're only 70% when we weigh it. So imagine all of this water in your body can't just be bulk water like you get out of the tap. It actually needs to be organized in one of these highly ordered states. So when we drink crystal imprinted water, we're actually introducing this highly organized water back to our body. And therefore that's helping us on a cellular level. Now, exactly what it's doing, we won't try to map out or kind of conjecture about here, but it definitely does some great stuff. There's some research that's been done on it, and it's a wonderful tool for you.
And this is going to be in your new book that's coming out in February?
There are a few recipes, I think maybe about 3 or 4 different crystal elixirs in there. So it's one of many tools that are included in the book. But sometime in the future, I'll devote a lot more time to this subject.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, because we need a lot of help. We got to clear the karma, right, PK?
Oh, that's for sure.
We don't want to be at the effect of it anymore. And we can use all the help we can get. So that's good. And now, how does intent play into this? Do we need to make an intent when we put that crystal in the recipe for change?
Anytime we're working with a healing modality, we always really want to have our intent aligned. Even modern medicine is telling us about the benefits of positive mental affect, which is what they call it, and that's their sciencey sort of psychological way of saying when you think good things happen in your life, including but not limited to your physiology changes. So, whether we're using color therapy or aromatherapy or crystals or meditation, when we have a specific intent and we align the way we feel towards this intention, it magnifies the outcome of whatever application we're involved in.
Now, we definitely want to include intent into our magic with crystals and the water recipe. So that's all good. Well, I'm excited to try some of these things. How about you, PK?
I think it's a good idea. Now, you don't use just plain tap water, do you? Wouldn't you use a more pure water or not?
Use what you've got. I used to work in the tea industry for a long time, and I learned an ancient Chinese proverb that says, water is the mother of tea. And it's very true. What you steep your leaves in will have a big outcome on the flavor of your tea. And energetically speaking, what we steep our stones in will have an outcome on the energetic flavor, if you will, of the water you've got. But, if you only have tap water available to you and you're in a pinch, sit and meditate with it, pray over it, do whatever consecration ritual that you can, because even that interaction between your consciousness and the water can allow the water to return to that highly ordered state.
Ooh, wonderful.
Yes, this is all exciting. I can't wait I have a million crystals here. I really do. And I feel badly sometimes because I don't work with them. I don't spend the time like you do to work with them. So obviously I don't get the benefit either. But it is so important. There are a few special crystals that I have that I've traveled with. I took them to Egypt with me and, different parts of the world. And so they're like my little special friends. So like anything, it's something you want to develop a relationship with. So we're going to come back after the break and talk more about this and many other exciting things with crystals and healing and all of this great stuff. I'm so excited that you're here, Nicholas. This is wonderful. And Nicholas is the author of a new book, The 7 Archetypal Stones, Their Spiritual Powers and Teachings. So stay tuned, everybody. You are listening to Supernatural Girlz Radio, and we will be right back.
You're listening to IRN. The Inception Radio Network, Chicago, Illinois.
You didn't forget what's coming up tonight, did you? Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Never miss that interview you were looking forward to or the show on your favorite topic. Follow IRN on Twitter, I_R_N, and get reminders about the evening's live shows as well as fun and important updates throughout the week. That's I_R_N, and never miss a great show again.
My name is Ezra, and I'm from thehighendorg. You've heard of medical marijuana, but who can you trust for proper guidance? Here at thehighendorg, we have all the information you need. Did you know that scientists have discovered cannabis can reduce inflammation, pain, and spasms? It's helped my patients reduce the symptoms of autoimmune diseases, PTSD, autism, and insomnia. A compound from hemp called CBD is doing wonders for intestinal issues, anxiety, and the nervous system. I sell this compound at thehighendorg. I've worked as a medical marijuana consultant and educator for the past 6 years, and here at thehighendorg, I can help you choose from the hundreds of cannabis strains and products and find the ones that are best for your needs. To learn more about cannabis, schedule a Skype or phone consultation, or to have a CBD product shipped right to your door, visit thehighendorg. That's
You're Paul. I'm the new Sprint intern.
Sprint plus...
Intern. Yeah, clever, right? Look at getting an amazing iPhone 8.
Yeah, because...
They have an all-glass design, advanced cameras.
I'm going to
give your second phone to your new friend. Wow, Paul!
Now lease one iPhone 8 and get a second one on us. Visit your local Sprint store, sprint.com/iPhone, or call 1-800-SPRINT1 today.
iPhone 8 64 gigabyte $29.17 a month. Second iPhone 8 after $29.17 a month. Credit applied within 2 bills. Requires 2 new lines or 1 new and 1 upgrade with 18-month leases. Early termination results in full balance due. Excludes tax subject to credit and third activation. Restrictions apply.
The High End, all one word, .org. I'll help make your health high-end.
Hi, can you hear my voice? Imagine how many other people can hear it too. If you have advertising needs, then look no further. The Inception Radio Network currently has openings for on-air advertisements and radio show sponsorships. Given any thought to your target demographic? Inception has you covered there too. Advertising on a network gives you multiple opportunities to advertise on a wide variety of radio show broadcasts, and we have one to fit every advertising need. You know, in recent years, internet radio has exhibited a phenomenal listener growth. An Arbitron Edison survey shows that online radio boosts at least 33 million unique visitors each week and 54 million each month. And that number amazingly continues to grow. And these listeners are a part of many businesses' core demographics. And surveys have shown that internet radio listeners are far more likely than regular radio listeners to spend money on a whole range of activities. You know, internet listeners vote, they dine out and eat fast food, and they grab a cup of coffee. And here's the interesting one. They buy items online at a much higher rate than all other market segments combined. Internet radio also enables businesses to connect with consumers during work hours, where increasingly more lifestyle decisions are being made. Advertise with the best. The Inception Radio Network offers competitive advertising rates to fit just about anyone's advertising budget. Stop by today at www.inceptionradionetwork.com or call us toll-free at 1-888-919-2355. Get the word out. Get results with the Inception Radio Network.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Supernatural Girlz Radio. I am your host, Patricia Baker. I'm here with my co-host, PK from Tucson, and with our terrific guest, Nicholas Pearson. He is the author of a new book, The 7 Archetypal Stones, Their Spiritual Powers and Teachings. We're learning a lot tonight. Yes, we are. But I want to ask you, Nicholas, during the break, we were talking off the air about a wonderful man. Yeah. And he worked for IBM, as you mentioned, for many, many years, Marcel Vogel. And then he went into this incredible metaphysical world. Tell us about him and his successor and the crystals that he was able to cut that are different from any other crystal I've seen cut and used.
Yeah, so Marcel Vogel was an innovator. By the time he was a teenager, he was one of the world's foremost authorities on bioluminescence and phosphorescent compounds, basically just because he was interested in them and wanted to be. He co-authored a paper with a PhD on the topic at a very early age, so he was a brilliant man. He didn't go through conventional schooling, and he, even without being a pedigreed lettered scientist, he was snatched up by IBM and worked in R&D with them for 27 years, had over 100 patents to his name, including the magnetic coating on hard drives that allows them to actually have memory. So he was a visionary. And I think maybe not going the conventional academic route allowed him to think outside the box, but a big part of it was also his spiritual connection. He was so tuned in. So he was working with a course on creativity for the younger guys at IBM, and he wanted to recreate the famous Cleve-Baxter experiments where they hooked up the plants to the EKG machine, and the plants respond to your actions and even your intentions. And he was having trouble replicating it until he realized that the thing that allowed him to transfer his intention to the plant was a specific form of breathing, a pulsed breath that actually carries our intention along with our physical breath. And years later, he applied the same breathing techniques to just some raw pieces of quartz that someone had very insistently given him. He wasn't at all interested in crystals, really. He worked with them here and there in the lab, but nothing major. And he tried going into this meditative state and pulsed his breath the same way and released the intention. And just so happened one of his colleagues was standing across the room from him. Crystals pointed at him. And when Marcel does this and releases the breath, this other guy goes into an altered state of consciousness and falls to the floor.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so Marcel says to himself, I want nothing to do with this. What kind of witchcraft is this? I'm not interested. But we know what happens when our calling finds us. We can't escape it. So he intuitively received, almost as if in a dream, but in between that dreaming and waking state, this vision of the Kabbalah, the tree of life. And he knew that by faceting quartz into this shape, it gave it an ability to work beyond the ordinary capacity. So all crystals store data, retrieve data. They are oscillators. They sort of transduce or translate energy from one state to the next, information from one state to the next. They do so much for us. And all minerals are crystalline, so quartz as well as other things have this sort of regularity and consistency to their composition, and therefore also to their energy field. However, when we polish quartz into these specific angles that he experimented with until he found just right, they get this heightened ability to cohere energy. And what that means is it takes all of the whole spectrum of vibes going through it, whether we can measure them or not, and it gets them to march in sort of a unilateral direction. So everything happening in, around, and within that crystal is totally synchronized. And when we have a coherent energy field like that, that's when we can create really big change. So his crystals are phenomenal. He very painstakingly cut the first few by hand and then found in order to produce them, you have to be in this sort of prayerful state the entire time, holding that intention of what the crystal will be used for.
Now, with the pulsed breathing, can you teach that to us? What is that?
So it's sort of a pranayama almost kind of breath where you're doing a nice diaphragmatic deep breath in, just comfortably through the nose. And when working with the crystal, there are a couple of exercises in my book in the introduction of the 7 archetypal stones. You'll see a cleansing method that uses a style of breathing. And then also in chapter 6 on quartz, there's a programming method. Both of these are based on Marcel's work, modified slightly for the context of this book. But the idea is we get into this sort of rhythm of breathing very deeply and fully. We connect to our crystal while we're holding it. If we have one of the vocal crystals, what we'll do is we'll have the 2 points of it, because they're double terminated, between the thumb and forefinger of one hand, and then take the thumb and forefinger of our other hand and place them on any 2 opposite faces. So if you have a 4-sided crystal, you pick 2 sides opposite each other. And what we'll do is we'll repeat this breath for every pair of faces. And if you have a natural piece of quartz, they're hexagonal, so you do 3 breaths. But we breathe in, we hold our intention. So for cleansing it, we hold the intention to cleanse it. Maybe you'll visualize white light or purity or whatever else says to you, cleansing or consecration. And you'll breathe in through the nose. Hold the breath very briefly as you intentionally link up with your stone, and then forcibly exhale in a short pulse through the nose. It sounds funny. It sounds like this. I don't know how well that translates on your end, but
yeah, we get it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a real sharp exhale.
Yeah.
And then you'll repeat that for every pair of faces. Similarly, if we want to imbue a specific direction or program, charge it for a specific intent, we would do the same thing. Breathe in that intent and then pulse the breath into the crystal like that. And if we do this the right way, when we build a relationship with our crystal, we are just as effective holding it in our hands and pulsing the breath as we are if we place it 3 feet away from us and pulsing the breath, or going 300 miles away. Marcel actually did distance experiments, and this was long before the days of the internet. One time he was in the Czech Republic, he was in Prague, and did the experiment with the plants with this pulsed breathing. And they had to synchronize their watches to account for differences in time. But all the way in California, where the lab was, all of the little needles on the EKG machine spiked at the exact same moment that he pulsed his breath, even though he was nowhere near these plants. So we can have that same sort of non-local effect on our crystals too.
Well, he was an amazing genius, and obviously knew the depth of the power of these stones. Now, I see a lot of people try to sell Vogel crystals, but they're not the real thing, are they? There's something else.
You know, there are a handful of people who were trained by Marcel, and who trained one another, who do provide the real thing. One of the telltale signs of an authentic one is that they're pretty darn expensive. It's because a lot of effort goes into them. But you'll see a lot of things that are facsimiles. There'll be Vogel-style crystals or Vogel-like crystals, but they're not true Vogel-cut gems. And you can't do this in a factory and mass-produce them. They take time, they take effort, they take energy. And, you know, if you buy one of these less expensive copies, you'll still have a beautiful crystal. It will do healing work for you. But it's not specifically attuned to resonate to the exact same frequency as the true Vogel-cut wands do. And they actually resonate to the same vibratory signature as water in its most fundamental, purest, and crystalline state.
Well, it is, as I mentioned, I had an experience with a friend of mine who had a real Vogel crystal. And I'd had some minor surgery, but they decided to use a breathing tube, which I didn't expect. And as a result of this, my throat was horribly sore, and I was coughing, and I just couldn't get rid of this trauma from the breathing tube. And she took that crystal and had me lie down on the massage table, and she held it over my throat, and all of a sudden, whatever it was that was stuck in there energetically came flying out, and I never had another problem again. It was so powerful.
That's incredible. I believe it. These tools are just so amazing.
Yes, and again, I was impressed with this Vogel cut crystal, but I've also, like I mentioned, I wanted to say this so that people don't run out and buy the first thing they see on the internet, because it may not be the real thing. Now, Laura, I know you said one thing to look for is a high price tag, but is there anything else? I mean, is there a person who we can trust that's selling the Vogel crystal?
Yeah, so Marcel Vogel actually had a successor. His name is Rumi Da, who actually lives here in Central Florida. I've recently befriended him, and he's a wonderful soul, a great teacher, and has a lot of love and respect for Marcel and Marcel's legacy. So if you Google him, you'll find his website. He can connect you with the perfect wand for you. There are a few other cutters that are out there who might also be able to help you get just the right tool that you need. Some of the people have sort of continued Marcel's legacy. Had he lived longer, I'm sure we would have seen even more designs come out. So some of those people who are cutting the authentic wands have created new designs based on the original geometry, and they're breathtaking to look at. So there are a lot of options out there.
Mm. Well, we're going to have to look this gentleman up. And again, anybody who wants a real crystal, they should check with this gentleman. And his name again is Rumi?
Rumi Da.
D-A?
You got it.
All right. That's who you go to. Now, another question about working with these crystals. There's obviously rough stones that have never been cut or polished. And then we have gemstones that have been highly cut and highly polished. What's the difference in working with these particular stones? Is one actually more powerful than the other, or easier to work with?
So different traditions of working with rocks and minerals will have different opinions of this. For example, one of the things I practice is called gemstone therapy, and we believe in using very high-quality gemstones. Sometimes that means it's less is more. You can only afford so much of a flawless emerald, and that's fine. And we tend to use them in more or less sphere-shaped tools. So we can get them as strands of beads to wear or to lay on the body, or single spheres or single drilled spheres to use for placements. And making mandalas and things. So, form definitely follows function in this case. With spherical gems, they radiate energy in all directions. And the shape of their energy field is very similar to the shape of the human energy field, as well as that of the sun, the moon, the stars, the planet Earth. So it's a type of energy that's really easily digested for us on that sort of spiritual level, like we sort of have a spiritual metabolism, if you will. But it can be kind of diffuse, whereas maybe a raw crystal with a well-terminated end, something that's got a nice point on it, is going to have a very directed focus to it. So one tool might be better to serve you in one application, whereas another could do a different job better. If you want stones to stick in your pocket, you might not want something sharp and jagged, so go for something smooth and tumbled.
Yeah, that's true.
And then again, if you want to lay something on the body, something really round like a sphere, probably isn't going to stay in place. And, size is something we want to take into account. Giant rocks don't fit around our neck or in our pockets or on top of clients on our massage table very well. They tend to complain if the stone is too heavy.
Right. They complain.
we want to make sure that we're matching the tool to the job that's there. So just experiment. Use the ones you're most attracted to, because chances are those are the ones that are going to be the most valuable tools for you.
Now, John of God has a crystal bed. Are you familiar with that?
I am, yes.
And a gentleman had one and brought it here so that we were all able to have an experience of it. And everybody's experience was different. But I remember lying in that bed and hearing and seeing things that were from other dimensions. So have you had any experiences with that bed?
I've sat on a couple of them. Every time I've done it, it's been different. Sometimes it feels like I'm just sitting on a flat surface with some colored lights in front of me, and other times it really does feel almost as if it's some sort of portal. But crystals are very powerful tools, so when we combine them with our intention, and these beds use very specifically cut stones, as well as applying very specific frequencies or wavelengths of light to them. They're lit up. So I'm sure that has a wonderful effect on you, especially if it's the tool that you're attracted to. For me, it's just not the tool that I'm called to use.
Okay. And what about, I don't want to ignore our listeners. We have another question in the chat room for you.
Sure.
And this is from Yawa. He's saying, hi, is there a period of time or region of the world where crystals were used as currency or commerce?
So gem materials in general have been a big driver of trade, especially in the ancient world. So a really great example of this would be something that's really utilitarian, such as obsidian. Obsidian only occurs in volcanic regions, and yet you'll find cultures that are pretty far removed from areas of with volcanoes that still had obsidian implements. It was great for being a reflective surface as well as being a cutting tool. So since it was so useful and valuable to them on a practical level, they would use it to trade. You also have more, we'll say, aesthetically pleasing stones that were chosen for less utilitarian purposes that were also traded across great distances, as well as precious metals. We have to remember that even gold and silver, platinum, and the less precious metals are all derived from mineral ores. So all of these things are essentially crystalline at one point. So yeah, that's a really great point. You can read about how some of these stones traveled really great distances in the 7 archetypal stones, especially lapis lazuli. This is a stone that only occurs in very few areas in the world, but is very universally revered. So you can see how they extracted it, where it went, who wanted it, and why. It's such an amazing story to see how crystals shape our lives.
Yes, it is. And with lapis, that was big in Egypt, right? So there was a lot of spiritual power associated with lapis.
If a stone is put on a mirror, does that amplify it even more?
It's never something I've really experimented with. My intuition is probably not from a physics-based perspective, but, tools that we use spiritually can be either physics-based or faith-based. So, for example, let's say we want to cleanse a crystal. If we are using sage or moonlight or a lot of other things, believe it or not, it's not doing anything on a physical, chemical, optical level. It only works because we believe in it. And that's the paradox. Since we believe in it, it works, even though there's no reason why. So if you love smudging your crystals, continue to do so, but continue to believe in it. Whereas we also have faith-based or physics-based techniques, things that might include alternating hot and cool water, things that might include sound, or even this breath-based method that Marcel Vogel taught is actually a combination of both physics and faith. I think with the mirror technique, that might be a symbol of magnifying, and so long as you put your intention there, you're going to get that. But I try to take that sciencey route wherever I can and just go to the bottom line. What's the simplest explanation? What's the best way I can do this?
Makes good sense.
And Yeah, and so maybe you want to amplify a stone, get a... Sure.
I was going to say, how do you cleanse and clear yours?
So the technique I described using the breath that Marcel Vogel used, that's my preferred method.
Mm-hmm. That's so much easier than carrying them all outside for the midnight.
Isn't it?
Or giving them a bath.
Oh, yes. Oh, I know that.
I've given them baths. Yeah, with some...
With my therapy tools, things that I use in sessions, those get physically cleaned as well as spiritually cleaned. So, like after a gem therapy session, all of my gemstones get rinsed in water, and I do alternating warm and cool for those that are safe to put in water. But you might have stones that can dissolve in water or have their finish dulled, things that could be scratched by salt, things that can be faded by sunlight. So, your cleansing method could do more harm than good if you don't know about the composition of your stones. So using this breath-based and consciousness-based method means you're not going to hurt any of your beloved crystals.
That's good. Now, what about using electricity in crystals? Does anybody use that?
There are a couple of products. For example, I don't know if you've ever heard of a biomat.
Yes.
You can plug it into a wall. It's using far infrared, as well as amethyst, and some of them also have the black tourmaline. I've seen similar mats that use jade, and a couple other things here or there. But I think largely the combinations of these things are relatively unexplored. Marcel Vogel actually was able to generate an electrical charge with his Vogel cut crystals just using pulse. But there was no money to be made in it, so he showed it off kind of as a fun parlor trick, and it went on to more serious things like making people well again.
Wow. I mean, there's so much you can do once you have the knowledge, and obviously you've been studying this your whole life, so you have a lot of information at your fingertips. And, for people starting out, I think you're giving them great advice. Go with your intuition, go with a stone that calls to you, that you feel drawn to. But let me ask you another question. We mentioned portals briefly. Can crystals be programmed, arranged, or intended to create a portal?
Yeah. So some stones are a little bit more predisposed to this than others. My friend and colleague Judy Hall, she calls flint the portal stone. Flint is another very, very ancient primal rock. And it sort of works as this doorway through memory, time, the patterns from which the very fabric of the universe is made. And in addition to sort of getting our consciousness through that doorway, it serves as an anchor. So that way we can always return back to where we started. We don't want to get lost, just like the elevator trick. You don't want to wake up on the wrong side of the universe. It's nice to have a fail-safe built in. There are a couple other stones that I talk about in my second book that really work as these almost portal stones for doing past life journeying or genealogical healing and karmic healing on all sorts of levels. But there are plenty of others. One of the most powerful forms of crystal portals that we can connect to are the crystal skulls, and they're such a fascinating topic too.
Oh my gosh, we have to talk about the crystal skulls. That is such an important topic. But before we go there, I have another question for you. Sure. This one was just texted to me by Becky, and Becky wants to know, have you experienced crystal beings within certain courts? And if so, have you communicated with them, with these beings?
Oh, for sure. My personal belief, my experience that drives this is if we sit with any rock or mineral for long enough, we can sort of commune with its consciousness. And in some cases, the consciousness we connect to might be the personality of that one individual specimen. And in other cases, it might be more like a deva or an oversoul or sort of the architect of the entire mineral species. And you might actually be working with this bigger picture kind of energy. And it's possible to get both from the same stone. It's also possible to sometimes have etheric visitors in your stone, so to speak. The crystal skulls, for example, can be temporary repositories of consciousness. A very special formation of quartz called the Davic temple crystal, which gets its name from Katrina.
Where does it get its name? You were cutting out on us, Nicholas. I think your internet is
I'm sorry.
on you.
It's from Katrina Raphael in her seminal work with the 12 master crystals. Katrina named the Davic temple crystals because they connect to this sort of Davic world, and it allows that that spiritual plane to access us through these stones, as well as allowing us to access them through these stones. So it's a great question. We can definitely connect to consciousness. We can't always predict what that consciousness is going to be until we get there, though.
Mm. Yeah, so take your chances.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there's so much more to discuss here. I mean, I have a million more questions about how to work with all this, all of these things. So you said there's flint, and then what were the other powerful crystals that you mentioned briefly that could be used to set up a portal?
Well, the crystal skull.
Then I could get my hands on.
But there are a whole lot more, and yeah.
I mean, the crystal skull is in the possession of certain people, right? There's like some real ones that certain people own. And we've got to definitely delve into that because there is so much mystery around those, how they were created and what they do carry. And again, the people that say they found them, there's just so much intrigue about the crystal skull. So we're going to get back to that. And we're going to take a very short commercial break. This will be our last commercial break. So everybody, just stay tuned. And also feel free to call in or write your questions. We will ask them for you if you put them in the chat room. And if you want to call in, the number is 888-919-2355. Again, that's 888-919-2355. You are listening to Supernatural Girlz Radio, and we will be right back.
Listening to IRN, the Inception Radio Network, Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Just a reminder that Inception Radio Network is on Twitter. Follow us at I_R_N and keep up to date about who's on tonight, what interviews they'll be doing, who's guest spotting, what topics they'll be covering. Tweet to us, tweet about us, retweet topics to your friends, and most importantly, never miss a great show again. That's I_R_N.
Have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
My name is Ezra, and I'm from the hindrances.org. You've heard of medical marijuana, but who can you trust for proper guidance? Here at the hindrances.org, we have all the information you need. Did you know that scientists have discovered cannabis can reduce inflammation, pain, and spasms? It's helped my patients reduce the symptoms of autoimmune diseases, PTSD, autism, and insomnia. A compound from hemp called CBD is doing wonders for intestinal issues.
You're Paul. I'm the new Sprintern.
Sprint plus...
Intern. Yeah, clever, right? Look at getting an amazing iPhone 8.
Yeah, because...
They have an all-glass design, advanced cameras.
I'm going to
give your second phone to your new friend. Wow, Paul!
Now lease one iPhone 8 and give a second one on us. Visit your local Sprint store, sprint.com/iPhone, or call 1-800-SPRINT1 today.
iPhone 8 64GB $29.17 a month. Second iPhone 8 after $29.17 a month. Credit applied within 2 bills. Requires 2 new lines or 1 new and 1 upgrade with 18-month leases. Early termination results in full balance due. Excludes tax subject to credit and third activation restrictions apply.
Anxiety and the nervous system. I sell this compound at thehindrances.org. I've worked as a medical marijuana consultant and educator for the past 6 years, and here at thehindrances.org, I can help you choose from the hundreds of cannabis strains and product and find the ones that are best for your needs. To learn more about cannabis, schedule a Skype or phone consultation, or to have a CBD product shipped right to your door, visit thehindrances.org. That's the high end, all one word, .org. I'll help make your health high end.
Hello, Inception Radio Network. Would you like your favorite show to be played again live on air? Well, now the choice is in your hands with IRN's live request portal, an easy way to request your favorite show with a simple click. IRN's live request portal now gives you exclusive access to all the shows. How easy is it? Simply type a show name or a guest name, click request, even write a dedication message, and that's it. Try it now. Simply visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com, click on the live request tab under the show menu. Now playing your favorite show is just a mouse click away.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With cosmic fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Supernatural Girlz Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here with my co-host, PK, and our terrific guest tonight, Nicholas Pearson, who is the author of a new book, The 7 Archetypal Stones, Their Spiritual Powers and Teachings. And we're learning a lot tonight, aren't we, PK?
Oh, that's for sure.
Loving this. Now, we were talking off the air, as we often do, but we were talking about something so cool. Crystal skulls. We got to get into this subject. What can you tell us about crystal skulls, Nicholas?
Oh, well, how many hours do we have left?
Well, let's give us an overview here. How many are there? I mean, are there of the old ones?
Personally, I believe that there are probably hundreds of pre-modern skulls, things that have been made, before the last couple of centuries, from many cultures around the world. I do not believe there's a single master set of crystal skulls. There's no mythological 13 skulls or 52 skulls or 784 skulls. I think that there might be a spiritual template that exists, and there might be an original set of crystal skulls that exists in maybe like 5D or higher. And it's because of this non-physical template that virtually every culture in every corner of the globe has carved our own likeness out of stone. So, the crystal skulls are something that can be really polarizing. Some people are really attracted to them and others are really repulsed by them. And, we have so many conditioned beliefs and reactions to symbols of death, and the crystal skull at the most primal level is a symbol of our own ephemeral nature. But there's this sort of disparity between our physical death and the spark of our soul that is eternal and never dies. So when we take this very mortal symbol, our own skull, which normally breaks down to dust and returns to the earth, and we carve it out of something like quartz, which is luminous, it is beautiful, conducts the light through it like a lens or a prism, and also is more or less eternal, so long as you don't break it. we have this reminder that although our physical bodies die, our consciousness, our soul, our true self, our true spiritual nature never does. And, that part of us is where we derive our greatest amount of peace. And it's only when we come to this realization that we really make any great strides in our spiritual path as well.
Now, with these crystal skulls, a lot of people who claim to have sat with the original ones have had these visions, they've heard voices, other times, other places, other dimensions that seem to come through these large crystal skulls. I'm talking about the ones that are supposed to be the older ones. So is that valid? I mean, are people really having these experiences with this?
Yeah, and I would go one step farther to say that so long as we have a crystal skull that is really in an activated state, it's been taken out of its sort of passive, slumbering state of being and turned on, just like when you press the power button on the computer, it doesn't even have to be ancient. We can use modern skulls that are equally as activated and get very similar experiences from. I have a very dear friend here in Florida with an amazing skull named Silver. And Silver is carved from a variety of quartz called Russian Lemurian quartz, and she's a little bit larger than life-sized. She's about 25 pounds, carved by this amazing artist. And Silver is one of the most highly activated crystal skulls I've ever met. And her caretaker, Sharon, is really tuned into the gifts that she has. And we do these activation ceremonies together called the Galactic Skull Activations, where we compile as many skulls as we can. So anyone who's visiting the store can come and bring their own personal ones or can buy one that's being activated in the store. And then we bring her collection and my collection. And my family of skulls on this end actually has several of these ancestral or old skulls among them. So when we put activated skulls with inactivated skulls, it's kind of like tuning forks coming into resonance with one another. We can wake up these slumbering skulls.
Okay.
And so the skulls, they don't care if they're old or not. That's a very human ego kind of thing. They can do the work because of the fact that they all are connected via a communication membrane, a communication network, almost like the internet. So every time you carve a new skull, it's linked up to the same internet. I can have information that's at my fingertips that isn't physically stored on my computer. So even though I don't have, an encyclopedia on my computer, I can still tap into one via the internet. And that's why even with a modern skull, or a less than ancient skull, we could say, we can get very, very powerful spiritual experiences because they're able to download from that same source.
Now, how are these things carved? I can't even imagine what kind of tool you use. Are these lasers that you use to carve them?
So modern lapidary equipment uses things like rotating lapidary wheels and saws and, other things that spin. And some of the skulls that are a little bit more famous have been proven to have modern tool marks on them. So we don't need to go to great lengths to try to justify why these marks are there. We can just safely assume that they were more recently made than we were originally led to believe, and that doesn't diminish their powers whatsoever. But older skulls tend to be very irregular. You can see that they've been hand-carved, hand-polished. In the case of quartz is tough, but it's by far not the toughest crystal that you see out there. You see all these reports of how, quartz is so hard to carve. And
yes, exactly. That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
But the honest truth is that there are much harder things to carve out there. You can find much more ornate works made from jade than you can from quartz in the ancient world. And jade is actually tougher than steel. And we still manage to do it. Yes. Wow. Nephrite jade is made of these sort of interlocking twisted fibers, kind of like a mass of felt, except those fibers are crystals. And therefore, they're very, very tough, very tenacious, and very resistant to breakage. So if you had, a mallet made of jade and a mallet made of steel, that mallet of jade could break your piece of steel. So quartz, by comparison, is much easier to carve. So there's a lot of misinformation about crystal skulls, mostly because people don't understand the mineral science behind rocks and minerals in the first place. And so my goal is always to sort of unite these two parallel paths, spirituality and science, so we can use one to enrich the other.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of mythology around them that they actually came from the star people, or, ETs, and that they were left here basically as holders of knowledge. So what do you think?
Yeah. Well, the myth to which you're referring actually didn't exist anywhere in the world until the 1980s, which is already pretty darn suspicious. The gentleman who's responsible for propagating it was a man who claimed to be a medicine man, but was a white person who didn't speak a lick of a native language, might have had less Cherokee in him than I've got, and I've got practically none. So he claimed to have this authority that he never had, and created this myth where there never had been one. He called this collection of the crystal skulls the Ark of Usui Konwia, and for all I know, that might just be gibberish. And there were supposed to be 12 other planets that had human-like life on them, and each of them had their own master crystal skull. And when they were all brought together with the key, the 13th skull, then it sort of unlocked the secrets of the universe for us. But there are a few holes in this legend. There are a few things that don't add up. And it wasn't until it appeared in print in a book called The Medicine Way by Kenneth Meadows that we ever heard it being repeated by any other researchers.
Okay. Well, good to get some clarity on that one. That's for sure. Now, here's a question from Daria. And she says, where do diamonds fit into the line of crystals, and what healing power do they have?
Well, diamonds were very magical to work with for my first book. You'll see them in the second book as well for karmic healing, because they're so powerful at working with our blueprints. Diamonds come to us in lots of different shapes, sizes, colors, and qualities, like any other mineral. And the highest quality ones that we use in gem therapy actually contain an equal dispersal of the 7 color rays, or the 7 sort of cosmic rays of energy. We see them as all 7 colors of the spectrum, but we sense them as something much deeper and more profound than that. And this is the same fabric, the same light and sound that represents the sort of prismatic division of the mind of God, the mind of Creator, that everything in the universe is made from. And before it comes down to physical, it sort of steps its way down from this unknowable light to the things that we can look at and see and experience. And one of the first things that happens is we get these spiritual blueprints or templates that are woven together from these 7 color rays. And when diamonds contain all 7 color rays, they can actually help us effect change at the blueprint level for healing. So we have to use them very consciously, very mindfully. Imagine, let's say, I do a session on myself with a therapy diamond, and then one of you ladies comes to visit me, and I use the same diamond and don't clear it first. It still has a record of my blueprint. And then when I go to, work with your blueprint, I might actually be giving you my blueprint information and overwriting something in yours. And I mean, I kind of like my life well enough, but it might not be the thing that brings you joy, and we can do harm with them. So
you have to be cautious. That's a very powerful stone.
Right. Now, in a less precise setting, or if we're not using the gem therapy techniques, there are other ways that we can use diamonds therapeutically. So, for example, in the 7 archetypal stones, in addition to talking about their role with connecting to blueprints, I also talk about them and their sort of cosmic archetype of being the unconquerable force of the universe. The word diamond comes to English through a really strange and circuitous route. We get the word diamond from Middle French, where it was Dieu amant, meaning the lover of God, but it came from there from Latin earlier than that. And then earlier than that, it comes from Greek, and that Greek expression, damas, D-A-M-A-S, means not tamed or not conquerable. And damas is the same root that we get words like dominion and domino and domain and to tame. So diamond was named because of its incredible strength, its inordinate brilliance and fire, and the fact that it outperformed. It could slice through any other gemstones. It literally could not be conquered by any other stone. And symbolically, what it's showing us is that the only force in the universe that conquers everything else is unconditional love. And this love is the singular will of Creator. So when we connect to diamond, we affect change from this place of there being nothing but love. You are worthy of nothing less than love. You are created out of nothing other than love. And everything that you do is, in sometimes very strange and perverted way here, an expression of love, or our desire to have an expression of love. So diamond creates this real deep awakening of our own inner divinity. And it can be very profound.
Wow, that is a great. I love what you just said. It's great to hear that. Now, one of my favorite stones is chrome diopside. What can you tell us about that?
Very nice. I love chrome diopside. I haven't done a whole lot of work with it, but diopside is one of the things that mixes together to form jadeite, one of the two varieties of jade. And the more precious varieties of jade also have chrome in them, which they owe their color. So chrome diopside shares some symbolic elements with jade itself, being a good dreamtime journeyer, something that gets us in touch with the natural world, something that allows us to really experience youthfulness, brilliance, vitality. But because its crystallinity and clarity is much greater than that of jade, it also kind of reminds us of emerald in some ways. It's a really profound rejuvenator at the physical level. In gem therapy, we use emeralds as the bearer of the green color ray, which is all about physical healing. It allows us to experience the physical realm as a direct expression of the spiritual realm. So, chrome diopside is something that we can use to rejuvenate our physiological tissues, as well as bringing lightness and sweetness to our heart, our mind, and our spirit.
Oh, that's why I like it. Now, what about alexandrite? That's an unusual stone. It changes color.
Yeah. So that
what do you think of that one?
That change is called pleochroism. There are a few other things that sort of exhibit the same quality, where different kinds of light cause it to appear to be different colors. And they're wonderful stones for helping us shift perspectives, allowing us to see things in a new light, metaphorically, but also because they work with light in a way that visibly alters the wavelengths. They can be good for changing consciousness at will also.
Oh, okay. That comes out of Russia, right? Alexandrite?
Yeah, I mean, it comes from a handful of places worldwide. It's a variety of chrysoberyl. It is. It was one of the earliest available gems that could be synthesized in a laboratory, though. So you can get a lot of alexandrite jewelry inexpensively, even fairly old, heirloom-style jewelry that didn't even come from the earth.
Now, what's the difference? I mean, can you still work with that or not?
You can, and different authors are going to tell you different things. But if we want to take that science route, the recipe for getting the vibration of a gemstone is a result of its chemical composition, the order or arrangement of its inner lattice, the crystallinity or the shape of those molecules, atoms, and ions stuck together, the outer expression of it, and that would be the external geometry we see. And if it's cut, you won't see that, but it's there nonetheless. And also some other factors like its optical properties, its color, its hardness, its density, all the other boring sciencey things actually add up to its energy. And if we have a stone that we've created in a laboratory and one that's in nature, and they have the same chemical, optical, physical properties, then they're going to have more or less identical spiritual ones. The difference is that they feel blank. They feel like they're not as ancient or wise. And so it's our opportunity to begin that relationship with them for the very first time, since they were made very quickly rather than slowly and incubated by the earth herself.
So you can work with them. That's interesting. Now, here's a question from Starlight, who wants to know, does any collector have crystals they claim were not formed on Earth?
Well, we have meteorites. We have tektites, which are results of the fusion of terrestrial and extraterrestrial material. But, things that you're going to go find in your average mineral store or whatever, unless it's labeled as being a result of some sort of cosmic activity, they're all formed here. And I think, spiritually speaking, there are those that might be inspired by off-world energies. I'm not really interested in UFOs and ETs and things. I think it's fabulous, it's wonderful, but I don't have the time personally to devote to it. So I'm probably not the one to go to see who, out there is helping us via the kingdom. But I will say that, especially with the crystal skulls, no matter how far I try to stay away from ETs, they follow you. You can't get away from them. And
they're not letting you go. Yes, I know.
Even these galactic skull activations that we do allow the skulls to become portals for these higher levels of consciousness, these star beings, to co-create with us, to allow them to move freely through the skulls to assist humanity in our evolution.
What about phantom crystals?
Yeah, phantom crystals are great. When quartz or any other transparent mineral for that reason is growing, it might pause at some point. There might be a change in temperature, concentration, mineral content, other things in its growth environment, and that will give the crystal an opportunity to slow down or speed up its growth. And wherever that happens, it's almost as if there's a little snapshot frozen in time inside that crystal. You might find a quartz that has a single phantom in it, and it looks like a ghostly image of a crystal trapped within it.
Yes, they look like little ghosts. Yes.
Yeah. Now, spiritually speaking, because these are evidence of where the crystal has started and stopped its growth and sometimes had other minerals introduced in, they allow us to go to significant points in our own evolution in order to examine those experiences and heal whatever underlying patterns there are. So it might be emotional trauma from your childhood. It might be past life trauma from a previous incarnation or a concurrent incarnation. And although I touch upon that a little bit in the 7 archetypal stones in the chapter on quartz, this February, when everyone rushes out to get crystals for karmic healing, we'll talk a little bit more about the phantom crystals too.
Yeah, those things are fascinating. Well, they're all fascinating to me because I just love gems and crystals. But the phantoms seem to have a whole other thing going on.
They are. They're magical. Those are portal stones for sure.
Oh, okay. There we go. Those were my portal stones. I love them. Now, what about when you take a gem or a crystal and you add a metal to it, like copper or gold? What happens? Does it enhance it? Does it enhance your ability to communicate with it?
Well, there's some sort of alchemy that takes place when we do this. So, for example, they're really popular on the market these days are the aura quartzes, where you take a piece of transparent quartz or maybe less than transparent quartz, you pop it in a vacuum chamber, you heat it up, and you add these precious metals or combinations of precious metals to it, and they become these iridescent crystals. Because they're under great pressure, it allows them to generate a small electric charge. And so at the temperature, those metals become a vapor, they become a gas, and they naturally adhere to the surface of the crystal and create a permanent bond. So in that case, what we're doing is we're tampering with nature, but I like to think of it as augmenting nature. And we're getting tools that are greater than the sum of their parts. So with aqua aura quartz, which is made from chemically refined gold, more pure than 24 karat, for example, we get something that isn't just merely gold plus quartz. It's something that is fairly transcendent. I think these days there are a lot of lower quality aura quartzes that are being made in virtually every color of the rainbow, because for people who are new to crystals, color sells, and these are beautiful to look at. It seemed that when there were fewer of them, they were made a lot more respectfully. So lately I haven't really been turned on by a lot of the aura quartzes, even though they're getting prettier. Vibrationally, there's just less there. It's kind of like with the Vogel crystals. When they're made with intention and really made by someone who's tuned in, you feel this profound experience from them, whereas the ones that are machine-made, factory-built, they're just pretty to look at. So I think they have the potential to be amazing tools, but not everyone likes them. There's a really large contingent of people who work with crystals who don't want any of the man-made or enhanced stones.
Well, in China, I hear they take gem quality things and they grind them up, and then they turn them into some other type of form, whether it be a bead or a faceted crystal, but they're ground and then bonded again. And what does that do to a mineral? Does it make it useless?
So, usually what they're doing with this is they're actually creating glass. So they're taking quartz that might not even be the prettiest, and they'll introduce other things to it. In the beginning, it was, fairly mineral-derived stuff that they would add to it and create these, beautiful pieces of glass that they would sell as reconstituted quartz. And, the problem with that is unless it's crystalline, it's not quartz. So it's just glass. Glass has energy. Obsidian, chapter 1 in my first book, is devoted entirely to natural glass. But it doesn't have the regularity or the crystallinity that actual quartz does. So by and large, if you're attracted to them, by all means use them. But I wouldn't enter that working relationship with them expecting them to give you the same effect as a natural stone.
Yeah, they do. You're right, because I know I've been at gem shows and I've held them in my hands and they just don't feel right. It's like there's something missing. in a big way from them. So, here's another question for you. Somebody wrote in and wants to know, do you give classes like webinars and things like that?
So right now,
I work with the stones.
Yeah, so I teach mostly here in Florida. I've got some travel coming up in the future. I'm currently a face-to-face kind of teacher. So if you want to stay abreast of my calendar, you can find my Amazon author page, amazon.com/author/Nicholas Pearson. You can find me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page called The Luminous Pearl. I host all my events there. You can also find my personal page. There's a picture of a young guy holding a book, and he's really excited. That's me. That's the right Nicholas Pearson. So those are great ways. I just earlier today started talking to someone about putting together some webinars. So that's in the cards for the future. I'll be working with my alma mater, Stetson University, and the Gillespie Museum to go back and present with them in early February. So I've got some other in-person kind of events, but I know not everyone is here in Central Florida, so I'm very soon hopefully going to find some avenues for us to connect in spite of that distance.
Well, that sounds terrific. Yeah. So the name of your book that's out today is The 7 Archetypal Stones, Their Spiritual Powers and Teachings, and your new book coming out is called
Crystals for Karmic Healing, and that's February 3rd, and in September, book 3 comes out. If you can imagine.
Wow.
And that one is called Crystal Healing for the Heart.
Oh, nice. Well, we're going to have you back, Nicholas, to talk about both of these new books. It's just it's excellent information, and we know so many people in our audience that are already working with crystals and would benefit by learning more and getting deeper into this whole subject. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Oh, it's been a delight.
Sure. Thank you so much. So listen, everybody, this has been great. Now make sure, again, you go to our Facebook page, give us a like, and visit our sponsors. We have a new one, creativestrength.us. They're offering a 15-day free scalar treatment. So go to our website, supernaturalgirls.com, and you'll see where to sign up for that. No cost to you. It's free, and it's very cool. And we have, of course, our marijuana expert, in case you want to know something, learn something about medical marijuana. And he is right there. His name is Ezra from thehindrances.org, and also that great book from Sean Bartok, Flashbacks, a recent abductee story. So make sure you go visit, and until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. We'll be back next week.
You bring your phone everywhere. Work, school, the movies. Now you can bring it to an Xfinity store for an easy way to switch to Xfinity Mobile, a new kind of network designed to save you money. You can get up to 5 lines of talk and text included with Xfinity Internet at no extra cost, so all you pay for is data. It's never been easier to switch to Xfinity Mobile and keep the phone you love. Click here to see how. Sorry, I gotta take this. Restrictions apply. Limited to select mobile phones. Requires activation of a new line of Xfinity Mobile. Up to 5 devices per account. New Xfinity Internet customers limited to up to 2 lines pending activation of Internet service.